Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Thursday, August 17th, 2023. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Happy Thursday, everyone. Here's a look at the daily time frame of the ES. Here in overnight trading, price dropped right into the previous month's low and got just below it. 44.11 was the level we talked about over the last couple of days. If we see weakness up here, look for a continuation into the previous month's low. And we mentioned 4400 to 4411 is the zone to watch for a target and then potentially even a bounce point. Now we got to 4409 half, so barely pushing through that level. And already we're seeing signs of strength. So last night in overnight trading, prices dropped into that zone and then bounced. And then ahead of the RTH Open during the London session, we got a pullback and a continuation. So early on, we're seeing an early reaction here to the previous session's low, previous session's close, in addition to the previous month's low. And we're seeing a little bit of a fade after trend day down. Now that can be in play here today given the weakness we've seen, but how strong does this move become? Does it push through the previous session's midpoint and close beyond that midpoint? That would be a huge reaction on these lows. Can price develop one of those huge reactions that can turn price back up within the range? Can we rally back to, say, the previous month's midpoint, or maybe even back to the top of the trading range to keep a larger range in play? Or do we fail here and open up additional weakness back down? 4200 would be the next level down. If you recall back here, we mentioned if price can break through 4200, it opens up the market structure up to 46. It's a 400 point distribution right now, and we got the move right to 46, 46.34 half. Do we make the move all the way back down now to retest 42? Does it bounce first and then trade down? At some point we may need to go get 42. So keeping an eye on this edge here. Now bears will be looking to defend morning strength for another round of weakness. So this weakness could be met with resistance, say at the previous session's midpoint, and from there it could become an inverted checkmark trend day down. Keep in mind we also have pre-market economic data points coming out, initial jobless claims, which could influence things up ahead, in addition to Philly Fed Manufacturing Index. All right, let's take a look here at the NQ. You'll notice right here with the NQ a similar reaction to the ES today. A bounce back up into the previous session's range, taking out the previous session's low close and bouncing back into the range. So fade after yesterday's trend day down, at least trend morning and afternoon down. So we could be looking at a pullback into the previous session's midpoint. That's going to be about the 15.045 zone. A return into that target could be a good day target. Overall, we're still trending down. Up days have been single up days followed by weakness the very next day. The last up day here was kind of this nothing day and then started down. Then you had this day that pushed through the mid, failed new high down. Then you had that day, which was huge, ended up lower. Then you had this day that looked like it might do something. The very next day failed new high, new lows. Very clear downtrending price action. The 8-period average has been a huge area of resistance for this market, so even if we were to rally as high as that level, we could be met with another round of selling ahead until we can find a strong low. Once we find a strong low, then we could be looking at a good reversal up ahead. So what does a strong low look like? Different markets, it looks like different things, but this was a great one right here on the pullback, super strong. Any one of these reactions was nice. And if you go beyond that, a failure on a breakdown. You try to break down, you fail, and then you snap back up. So watching for signs that we could either bounce away from this level or do we continue downward. Remember, the next key level down was the 850 zone. We're kind of right there today, getting as low as 887. So we're almost at the bottom end of that range that we talked about before. This is a big point here. Do we bounce back up a bit for a retest, or do we extend this thing down? If we start to extend, 13.8, 13.750 is the next zone below. Taking a look here at crude oil. Crude oil, big time day. In the previous session here, a huge reaction straight through this blue dotted line. That blue dotted line is the previous year's close price. We mentioned before that if we get a rejection up here, we could attack that line, and if we start to fail through that line, it could open up a return all the way back across this range, as deep as 64, but the first moves take you into, say, 75, 74, 72, etc. So we have the near-term move that can happen to the middle of the range, and then we see what happens, and then maybe follow through ahead. So right now, when you go through this level like we did in a stop-run fashion, in a transition fashion, the pullback the next day to the level here will offer an opportunity for bears to defend. As a matter of fact, here pre-market in the 6 o'clock hour, it looks like a pretty strong rejection already at the previous session's midpoint, and that could begin to turn the tides here between that mid and this high. That could be the ideal entry for bears looking to defend for another rotation down today, and then even perhaps ahead. 76 and below could be ahead in the very near term for this one. And even if we get a one-day bounce, failed new high, could be ahead after that. So if you look back here, for example, big 2-day drop, especially through here. Back here you had a similar drop. Even a pullback here was an opportunity to drop it lower up ahead. So we'll see how this develops, but this could be a great opportunity for bears to defend up in this zone. If we take a look at gold futures, this one right now is about break even at the moment. Not really doing a whole lot off of the previous sessions. Actually bouncing off the previous session's lows, but trending downward. Really an inability. Let's see, I just moved this key range, which I will have to adjust up ahead. Let's go ahead and take it off for now. But looking at this market right now, we've had a clear downtrending view toward 1900. And it really came on that failure right there. That was a huge rejection low. It was at a key level in the current trend higher. And one of the things I mentioned was if we can pull back and hold the pullback, there could be a continuation up. But as soon as you fail to hold the midpoint of a strong rejection on a daily closing basis and you push through it like that day, the trade, the idea is pretty much done. Is done, because 9 times out of 10 when you close below the midpoint of a strong reaction or strong rejection, you're going to go take out that low. This thing did that and it's continued downward. So steady weakness, lower highs day over day, lower lows day over day, par for the course right now. This morning's strength could be sold yet again, just like these other markets, as this market continues downward toward the previous month's low, but also toward the 1900 edge down there. So still trending down in the very near term until proven otherwise. Lastly, taking a look at the YM. Now I mentioned the YM could be a significant market here because of its compression. This compression right here is huge, rounded top, a couple of major sell signals along the way, and we broke down in the previous session. Now is this breakdown enough to suggest that we're about to actually push down through into 33.8 or maybe even lower, 32.8? There's enough energy to do that. After a break like this, you've got to see how the retest responds. Do we get a strong low here first, or does the pullback get rejected as well? Because if so, then we're continuing downward in a big way. So to break down now through the 35.1, bulls must now reclaim 35.1. So at some point down the road, bulls are able to reclaim the 35.1 level. That's when you have a shot to return back to the highs and maybe stay in the range. But shy of that scenario, to fail to get back above 35.1, you're now working your way to 33.8 rather, right here, these lows. So do we get a strong low? A strong low would look like something like this, or maybe like this, or some turnaround of magnitude. Do we get that up ahead? Say we drop, and then by the end of the day we've closed way up here like this. That would be a very good strong low and would suggest at least a return to the highs, if not one more attempt through those highs. So what do we get up ahead? Right now, clearly bears winning out, and any pullback could be a big time opportunity for bears to defend and push this thing back to value. 33.8 still ahead potentially for the YM. All right, that is it for now. We'll see how this plays out heading into the rest of the session. Good luck, trade well, and I'll see you in the trading room. Take care.